This is the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast. We have assembled the world's finest sports and trivia dorks to prove once and for all that we are just as bad at this as we were at sports.
Hello, listeners. This is the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast, sports trivia for those of us who rode the pine. Welcome to episode 292. I'm your host, Scott. In today's game, we'll be pitting the Benchwarmer team of Mason and Markkus versus Benchwarmer Tako and newcomer to the bench, Jake DeArruda. Welcome to the bench, Jake. Why don't you take a minute, let us know where you're from, what teams you root for, anything else that you'd like to share.
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up in Vermont. I now live in Massachusetts, right outside Boston. Predictably, I've been a Boston sports fan my entire life. I worked in the memorabilia industry for a bit, so I got to meet a lot of New England-based players. The one caveat is that I'm also a USC football fan. My dad attended the school briefly, so Boston with a little SoCal mix.
Name drop. Who did you meet?
Chris Sale, Stephon Gilmore, Super Bowl hero James White, the McCourty brothers, a couple Bruins guys, Charlie McAvoy, Torrey Krug. Paul Pierce was in the same room as me, but I did not get to meet him that day. Just a sampling, so lots of fun.
I feel the same way. When I go to baseball games, I'm like, yeah, I was at the same stadium as Juan Soto, so I don't. We're friends. I saw him. I watched him at the home run derby, so we're friends now.
I spoke to James White for 2 seconds. Yeah, I know it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I was just telling these guys that I stood next to Tom Lennon for 5 minutes a couple weeks ago, and now we're cool. I'm going to his house in the Hollywood Hills. But thank you for being here. Excited to have you. Tako, sir, how are you? Let us know how you're doing and what your team name will be.
I'm fine. Nothing new to report. School is school. Kids are kids. They're getting slightly taller and slightly more armpit smelly by the day. But we love them. Our team name. So Jake and I know each other through both being Jeopardy alumni. He was significantly more successful than I was on the show. But so we decided to use our team name to shout out a Jeopardy legend and also a Golden State Warriors legend for my own purposes, and a little pre and post game along the way. So our team name will be Johnny Gilbert Arenas.
I'm trying to picture Johnny Gilbert in the locker room with a firearm and how that would go down.
I think he could hang in there. I think it'd be okay. All
right. So Johnny Gilbert Arenas. And now we have, since I think Tako was talking about you when he said that and their armpits are getting smellier. That was you for the first 3 years of this podcast, I feel like. So how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right. I can kind of relate to that because the high school students I teach have the same problems that Tako was talking about on a worse level at times. I won't get too much into details, but today was kind of wild because some of my kids were saying some very unhinged things. I'll just put it that way, just things you wouldn't expect to come out of high school students' mouths. I don't know, something in the water today, I guess. But otherwise, everything's going fine.
My kids we're on our golf unit. My kids were golfing the other day, and when instead of saying Ford, they shouted Donald Trump.
Okay.
I don't know where that came from. I mean, he has a golf course out here, so I think maybe, I don't know if they equate one with the other, but they were just like, Donald Trump. And I was just like, why are we doing that? Just say Ford, guys. Just say Ford.
Is that the new equivalent of saying Kobe whenever you shoot a basketball?
Yeah, right. That is, please. Let's not make that a thing. You say Trump when you fire someone, right? That's when you do it, not when you're playing golf. Markkus, how are you doing? And let us know what the team name will be for you and Mason.
Yeah, I'm doing well. I don't know, nothing new. Yeah, just suffered through another very predictable championship weekend in the NFL, and with that, the inevitable just happened again, because of course it did. And since Scott, you and Mason and myself, we do love the NFL draft, and now it's even more appealing than actually watching the Super Bowl. So tonight our team name is going to be Draft Sickos, because we are that.
Yes, we are that.
Like a kid that I coached against is at the East West Shrine Bowl, and he did pretty well, and I'm like, that's so weird. That's how long I've been coaching, even though I'm 36 years old. I've been coaching for 12 years, so it's like, oh, yeah.
I mean, you're like Sean McVay, dude.
I know, I feel young for coaching, but I feel old in, my body.
I think that's all of us, coaching or not. I think that's all of us. Speaking of feeling young, but also old in their body, let's throw it to Dan for the rules.
The game will consist of 4 quarters of play, each with different trivia style. The styles of quarters 1 through 3 will change from show to show, and I will explain them as we go along. Like any good sporting event, we will have a halftime show after the second quarter with entertainment questions. And in the fourth quarter, our teams will wager from their points accumulated to see who are today's clipboard captains, to be honored like the true benchwarmers they are. All right, let's get this game underway.
All right, today's first quarter will be Curriculum Vitae.
Curriculum Vitae. In this round, the host will list the teams and years for which a player spent time and may also give a few fun facts about each player. Each question is worth 20 points.
All right, question 1 in Curriculum Vitae. 1994 to 1998, Calgary Stampeders. 1999 to 2003, San Francisco 49ers. 2004, Cleveland Browns. 2005, Detroit Lions. 2006, Philadelphia Eagles. 2007 to 2008, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 2009, Oakland Raiders practice squad. Also 2009, Philadelphia Eagles. 2010, Omaha Nighthawks. And 2011, Houston Texans.
Yeah, we'll check in.
All right, Johnny Gilbert Arenas is checked in. Draft sickos, you guys can talk it out.
I mean, I feel pretty good about the time frame for Niners, Browns. I don't remember the Lions, but Eagles and Tampa Bay, I feel pretty good about that he was there around that time. This has got to be Jeff Garcia, right?
Yeah, the Lions was the one that was throwing me off, but everything else seems to feel okay as far as time frame.
Yeah.
I'm sure he was on the practice squad with the Raiders. Sure, why not?
Yeah, and seemed like a really fun guy to be around. Okay, we'll check in with Jeff Garcia.
Okay, and over to Johnny Gilbert Arenas for your answer.
Like you guys, I was also held up on the Detroit Lions part. I did not know he was there in 2005. But unlike you guys, I am stuck permanently in a state of being 10 years old, and I played Madden 09 last week, where Jeff Garcia was the quarterback for the 2008 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, Jeff Garcia.
Both teams are receiving points. It's my quarterback. It is Jeff Garcia. And Jake, awesome that you chose 2009 Madden of all Madden.
Yeah.
That's San Jose State Spartans legend, Jeff Garcia, to be clear.
That is true. No, playing old sports games is so fun, actually. It's funny that you say that because I played NBA Live 2004 for the PS2 the other day because my brother still has ours. So, yeah, got some time in on that, and it was great and terrible at the same time.
I have an active dynasty in NCAA 05 that I'm still playing. I'm in year like 2052. Which doesn't seem that impressive now, but when you think the game starts in 2005, I've been at it for quite some time.
I had an NCAA 07 dynasty of a similar length. It was deep.
Yeah, I had a March Madness one that was about 25 years deep, and I mean that was 2005. So 2030, basically, we were in it. So we've almost caught up to real time. That's scary.
Yeah, that's what makes it weird. I'm like, oh, I'm almost caught up to all of my old like franchises and dynasties. The year is almost caught up now.
Yeah.
All right, question 2 in Curriculum Vitae. 1995 to 1996, Washington Bullets. 1996 to 2004, Portland Trailblazers. 2004, Atlanta Hawks. 2004 to 2009, Detroit Pistons. 2009-2010, Boston Celtics. And 2012 to 2013, New York Knicks.
We'll check in.
All right. Johnny Gilbert Arenas is checked in. So once again, Draft Sickos, talk it out.
Yeah, this is interesting.
I'm just thinking Blazers and Pistons because this is the 2 longest ones.
2 longest, that would have put whoever this is in there when they won a title. So I'm trying to think of that.
And with the Celtics right around when they were making the NBA Finals too.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So drafted in '95 and played a while.
While in Portland is the weird one because I'm like, ugh, this is gonna make me crazy because I know I'm gonna know it. Okay.
Wait, so this player played 3 different teams in 2004? They were traded twice?
Is this Rasheed Wallace?
Baby? I don't know.
Because Rasheed Wallace was on that Portland team that won, or I mean, excuse me, the Detroit team that won. He was on Portland for a decently long time. And then for some reason, I remember him, or I think he might have hung around that long.
Sure. I didn't know he was drafted by the Bullets, but
I don't either. I'm not recalling it, but the teams, I mean, that's the best I can come up with just based off of the teams and the time frame.
yeah, I'm okay with that. I don't have anything strong on this one.
All right. We'll check in with Mr. White Spot himself, Rasheed Wallace.
And Johnny Gilbert Arenas, your answer?
We also have Rasheed Wallace, Celtics fan here, and I remember very vividly 09, 10, and 11, where they were signing only the oldest human beings to possibly play on the team and support the Big Three. And then Tako mentioned the Trailblazers and the Malice Pistons. So yes, Rasheed Wallace is what we have as well.
On a lot of noteworthy rosters was that man. It is indeed Rasheed Wallace. He was drafted 4th overall by the Bullets in 1995 after Joe Smith, Antonio McDyess, and his college teammate Jerry Stackhouse. 1 pick before eventual teammate Kevin Garnett.
And when you said he played for 3 teams in 2004, I got obsessed. So then I immediately went to his sports reference page. Yeah, he got traded to the Hawks in February 2004, played 1 game, and then was traded 10 days later to the Pistons. Wild.
All right. On to question 3 in Curriculum Vitae, and this is a long one, so bear with me. We're sticking in the NBA. 2004 to 2006, New York Knicks. 2006 to 2007, Orlando Magic. 2007 to 2009, Los Angeles Lakers. 2009 to 2010, Houston Rockets. 2010 to 2012, New Orleans Hornets. 2012 to 2014, Washington Wizards. 2014 to 2018, Houston Rockets. 2018, Phoenix Suns. 2018 to 2019, Washington Wizards. 2019 to 2020, Sacramento Kings. 2020, Portland Trailblazers. 2021, Miami Heat. And 2021 to 2022, Los Angeles Lakers.
Wow.
And I will preface this is a player, not a coach.
Be funny if it was.
Oh my goodness.
Multiple Wizards and multiple Rockets.
There's multiple, a lot. Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
Wow.
Scott, we'll check in.
All right. Johnny Gilbert Arenas has checked in. Draft sickos. I don't know if any draft knowledge is going to help you here, but talk it out.
I mean, drafted in 04. Played 18 years. So
Yeah, somebody who hung around a lot, and they moved around that much. They had to have been a role player at their peak. What, like a 6th man type?
yeah, you would think.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's Trevor Ariza, and what made me think is I was thinking young Trevor Ariza was on the Lakers, and then I believe he got traded to the Rockets, and he was on those late T-Mac and Yao Ming Rockets teams.
Yeah.
And then the jumping around, I do remember him, like you said, I do remember him in New Orleans. Like I can see him wearing that jersey.
Yeah, I was thinking around the early 2010s when I really started getting into basketball. So I remember, I mean, the Hornets were not very good. They had a lot of just random guys like from teams that bounced around. But yeah, Rizzo was one of the bigger-ish names that I thought of. So I think it seems to work, and I think he did end up playing until 2022 because I know he lasted a while.
Yeah, I knew he hung around for a really long time, like way longer than he probably should have. But
yeah, so I'm good with that.
okay, well, we'll check in with Trevor Ariza.
All right. Johnny Gilbert Arenas, your answer.
Yeah, it was the mid 2010s Rockets that got me there because as a Warriors fan, we saw them a lot getting waxed in the playoffs by the Warriors. And then, yeah, a lot of Wizards, a lot of Lakers.
Lakers championship team in particular.
Yeah, so we also checked in with Trevor Ariza.
Both teams are receiving points. The correct answer is Trevor Ariza. This is nuts. And for like a player who's pretty good, like he wasn't like a scrub. He was like what like Harrison Barnes or like DeAndre Hunter is today. Like he was like a solid 3-point shooting, defending small forward. I guess he'd be a power forward in today's game, but like he was a good player. So to get moved that much, like that's nuts. All right, on to question 4, the final question of Curriculum Vitae. And fortunately or unfortunately, this resume is not quite as long as the last one. All right, 2006 to 2010, New Orleans Saints. 2011 to 2012, Miami Dolphins. 2013 to 2014, Detroit Lions. 2015, San Francisco 49ers. And 2016, Buffalo Bills.
We'll check in.
Johnny Gilbert Arenas has completed the CV sweep of checking in first. Draft Sickos, talk it out.
Oh, man. I feel like I should have this right away, but
This is Reggie Bush.
I was overthinking it too, but I don't remember him with the 49ers.
I do.
He was?
Yes, it was very, very weird.
That was the first person I thought of, and I was like, oh, it can't be, because I don't remember him on the 49ers, but I guess maybe he was there for a moment. I don't remember that.
I vaguely remember it, but everything else is him.
Yeah, it does work. Because the Bills is where he had negative rushing yards. I remember that.
Oh, yeah, that well-known fact that we all know, apparently. Except for me.
He was the first guy to get like 10 carries and have negative rushing yards or something in the season or something like that.
He finished the season with negative rushing yards.
Yeah.
All right. Checking in with Reggie Bush.
Johnny Gilbert Arenas. Doesn't sound like you guys overthought it.
No, Patriots fan and USC fan, as mentioned. I remember the Dolphins stint with Reggie, and obviously 06 lines up with the draft, and I think I vaguely remember 16 as well. But Reggie, of course, was the number 2 pick in 06 to the Saints, so Reggie Bush.
Both teams getting points. I was able to find a nice Jake Tako wheelhouse question here with a USC guy that played for the Niners.
Played's a strong word.
That was on a Niners roster.
I don't know. I don't know if he touched the ball more than a dozen times.
Well, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, the correct answer is Reggie Bush. So, all right. After the first quarter, we have identical scores. Both teams swept that round, so it is 100 to 100.
We wanted to let you know that we are on Patreon if you'd be interested in supporting us financially. Your contributions will be used to help us cover the costs that it takes to bring you the high-quality sports trivia you have come to expect from us. There's also some great perks that come with the Patreon membership to the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast, including bonus episodes and Benchwarmers swag. You can find us at patreon.com/benchwarmerstp. Thanks.
And that brings us to today's second quarter, which will be David versus Goliath.
David versus Goliath. This quarter will consist of 3 pairs of questions, one easier, David, and one harder, Goliath. After hearing both questions, the teams will pick one of the 2 questions to answer, either David or Goliath. Each David question is worth 25 points, and each Goliath question is worth 50 points.
This will be the Major League Baseball Catchers edition. I will give you an MLB team, and you will have to name the all-time leading home run hitter among catchers for that franchise. All right, question 1. David, Cincinnati Reds. Question 1, Goliath, Chicago Cubs.
We'll check in.
Okay, for the first time in the game, Draft Sickos have checked in first, meaning Johnny Gilbert Arenas. You guys can talk it out.
We got to Johnny bench for the Reds pretty quickly, and then just spent time running through a bunch of Cubs catchers, none of whom are particularly like known power hitters. There's a Contreras brother in there, there's Giovanni Soto, Scott Service in the 90s.
Michael Barrett was good for 15 homers, but he wasn't there long enough to... It's probably some Hall of Famer from the 60s whose name is... It's going to sound familiar the second it's told.
Yeah, it's somebody. It's or even if it's like it could be somebody from like the 20s whose nickname is like Oil Can or something.
Ducky or whatever.
Right. I don't know. You want to just go with the David of Johnny Bench?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. Check in Johnny Bench for the David.
All right. And Draftsico's your answer.
The only name we had for Goliath, which we're not going with, was Kyle Schwarber, but I don't even know if he hit enough with them. We were kind of debating whether he's actually playing catcher because I thought he did for the Cubs, but I wasn't 100% on that. But with all of that, we just went with Johnny Bench for the David.
Both teams are receiving points. The correct answer for the David question is, of course, Johnny Bench. And the Goliath question for the Cubs with 212 career home runs. Tako, he's not Oil Can. They called him Old Tomato Face. This is Gabby Hartnett. But I put these two together because prior to Johnny Bench, Gabby Hartnett was called the greatest catcher in the history of the National League. First catcher to ever hit more than 20 homers in a season. Won the NL MVP in 1935. Six-time All-Star. Inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1955. So very illustrious career that no one remembers because it was forever ago. All right, on to question 2 in David versus Goliath. Question 2, David, St. Louis Cardinals. Question 2, Goliath, Toronto Blue Jays.
We'll check in.
Draft Sickos checked in. Johnny Gilbert Arenas, very briefly, talk it out.
This Blue Jays scene feels bleaker than the Cubs.
Yeah.
I just brought up Greg Zahn, so we're not in a good place.
I said John Buck.
Yeah, this is bad. Yeah, I think if anything, like I feel like Russell Martin was there for like maybe 3 seasons. He wasn't there super long.
He was there with the Dodgers to start. He was there for a while, and then he went to Pittsburgh in 2013.
Right.
Latest maybe 3 or 4 years in the middle. I mean, I'm not opposed to that because we have nothing better. But
right. I mean, I feel good about Yachty as the David, so I'm okay taking the David points.
Yeah, fine with me.
Okay, we'll check in Yachty Molina with the David.
Okay, and Draft Sickos, did you also go for David, or did you take a risk on Goliath?
No, we couldn't come up with anything reasonable for it, so we went the Yadier Molina for David.
Once again, both teams getting their David points. The correct answer is Yadier Molina with 147 home runs. For the Blue Jays, it's not Jay Pierre-Cibi, it's not Travis d'Arnaud, who was there at the beginning of his career. With 127 home runs, the answer for Goliath is Ernie Whitt, and I owe Bomback money for that one.
Ernie what?
Yes, exactly.
You don't owe him for that.
Ernie Whitt.
Why are you saying it that way?
Saying Whit what way?
I have no idea who that guy is, and I can't even place him in an era.
No.
Wow.
No.
So glad you went with the David on that one. Question 3, I think this is probably our only real gettable Goliath, but I guess we'll see. Question 3 in David versus Goliath. David, the Texas Rangers. Goliath, the Colorado Rockies.
Scott, we're going to check in.
Oh, gosh.
Johnny Gilbert Arenas is checked in. Draft Sickos. I can't wait to hear some of these obscure names.
Yorvit Torrealba?
There's one.
Giants legend, Yorvit Torrealba.
Yeah, I don't know why you said that, and then that is the one name that popped into my head.
I don't think it's him.
And I don't know if Jake Cave is the current catcher. He might be.
I don't think there is a team and position that I know less about than the Rockies catchers.
I might agree with you on that. I don't know that there is a deeper, darker hole in my sports knowledge than catchers for the Colorado Rockies. I could name all the pitchers that sucked there, but I can't think of who was catching the freaking ball. Oh man, I don't know. I mean, we might as well just go with the David. Get some points.
That's what this whole round has been. Let's just get some points.
You just want to go with the David?
Yeah, you can check it in.
We'll check in with Ivan Rodriguez.
Right? Thank you, Arenas, for your answer.
Well, let's first do the benchwarmers thing of running through the names that aren't correct.
Please.
Nick Huntley.
William Rosario, former Rookie of the Year vote getter.
Another Giants legend, Brent Maine, was a Colorado Rockies catcher for a little bit.
Was.
Dustin Garneau, another really obscure one.
Oh, yeah. But one guy came up for both of us that he's the one guy who was there for a decent amount of time, and he actually had a decent bat. It helped being an NL West fan because I know he hit a few notable home runs against the Giants. We are going to check in with the Goliath answer of Chris Iannetta.
Both teams are receiving points. The David answer for the Rangers is Ivan Pudge Rodriguez, and the Goliath answer for the Colorado Rockies with a whopping 75 home runs is Chris Iannetta.
75.
Wow.
Yeah, 75. And that's just volume because he was there forever. All right. As Draft Sickos has 175, and after the successful Goliath answer of Chris Iannetta, Johnny Gilbert Arenas has 200. That brings us to halftime.
It is now time for the halftime show. There will be 3 entertainment questions. Each question is worth 25 points.
I apologize in advance, Mason. Didn't know you were going to be on this recording. Didn't really have time to swap things out. But our halftime today is going to be all about movies. They are going to be sports movies, though. They are going to be sports movies. I am going to ask a question about all of my favorite movies in each of my 3 favorite sports. Right. So we will start with question 1 of halftime. My favorite football movie, Varsity Blues. Star quarterback Lance Harbor committed to what college powerhouse prior to suffering a devastating knee injury? The program was coming off of a Fiesta Bowl appearance in 1998.
Scott, we'll check in.
And I'd love to hear it. Tako with the early check-in. Johnny Gilbert Arenas has checked in. This is going to be fun. Draft Sickos, talk it out.
Mason, for once, I'm in the same boat as you. I've never watched this movie. Never had a desire to.
This is why I put the Fiesta Bowl thing at the end to hopefully give another avenue.
Yeah.
I've seen it. But
Whoa!
I have seen it. This was a few years ago, though. So this is not something,
So this is what's his face?
You're not going to get a name out of me. I just saw the movie.
R.I.P. Paul Walker. Fiesta Bowl 1998. Ooh. So, I mean, they're in Texas. Would it be like either A&M or Texas?
Sure, that would make sense geographically for Fiesta Bowl.
Let's say A&M. I don't know why.
Okay, I trust you.
You shouldn't. We'll check in with Texas A&M.
All right, and over to Johnny Gilbert Arenas for your answer.
There's only one rating to give Varsity Blues, and that's a 10. 10. I can hear Lance Harbor's dad's voice in the hospital crying like a little baby about his ride to Florida State. Yeah, it's Florida State.
That was actually pretty good accent.
Thank you.
Sounded just like him. The correct answer is Florida State. And yeah, that's what happened. He lost his ride to Florida State. The Fiesta Bowl was actually the national championship for the
Markkus Outson game.
For the 98 season. Played on the same day for you wrestling fans as the Finger Poke of Doom and when Mick Foley won the title. January 4th, 1999, that game was played between Florida State and Tennessee.
One of the most important sports days in history.
Ever.
Mick Foley, Kevin Nash, and T. Martin. What more could you want in a day of sports?
Who are 3 people who have never been in my kitchen.
All right. Question 2. My favorite basketball movie, Coach Carter. Rob Brown starred as Kenyon Stone, one of the key players on Ken Carter's squad. This was not Rob Brown's first portrayal of a basketball player, having appeared as Jamal Wallace in what film from the year 2000?
We'll check in.
As I kind of thought, Johnny Gilbert Arenas has checked in first. Draft Sickos, you can talk it out.
How's it going, Mason?
When I tell you, I recognize a grand total of nothing in that question other than Coach Carter. Every other name means nothing to me in here. I've never heard of Rob Brown. I've never heard of Kenny Stone or Ken Carter is Coach Carter, but I don't know who Jamal Wallace is. I wasn't watching this movie in 2000.
Oh my gosh. I don't know why you just saying that. Got me where I needed to go. Because maybe Mason, because you remind me of a young Sean Connery.
Wait, what?
Oh man, it's the way you said his name. I don't know why. I think the movie is Finding Forrester.
I've never heard of it, so sure.
It's if you want to no, if you want to hear Sean Connery, what does he say? Like, oh man, I can't remember the line. It's gonna kill me too. Anyways, doesn't matter. We'll check in with Finding Forrester.
Johnny Gilbert Arenas, your answer, please.
I only have one thing to say to you, Scott, for writing this question. You're the man now, dog. It is absolutely Finding Forrester.
That's it.
Tako
You're the
with
man now,
accents.
dog.
Taco's 2 for 2 on his, and 2 completely different accents.
Oh,
Wes Canaan,
man.
Texas dad, and Sean Connery for Finding Forrester.
Has a range. Has a
Nailed
wide
them
range.
both.
Yep, I've got range.
You're the man now, dog.
Both teams are getting their points. The correct answer is Finding Forrester. Rob Brown also played Ernie Davis in the Express, Ernie Davis. So he clearly was typecast as playing athletes. All right, on to question 3, and then this will be over. I promise, Mason and Markkus. This is my favorite baseball movie, Hardball, which should not come as a shock because I have mentioned that on this podcast before. And it's a great movie, and you should watch it. My favorite baseball movie, Hardball. What current A-list Hollywood actor had a minor role in Hardball as a little leaguer who lied about his age to remain on the team?
We'll check in.
Yes. Draft Sickos is checked in first. Johnny Gilbert Arenas, talk it out. I know I'm not supposed to have a bias, but I really wanted them to check in first. So
No, I'm proud of him.
It'd be a kid, 2001 and 2. How old's Timothy Chalamet?
It is not Timothy Chalamet, although that would be incredible.
That'd be something, huh?
I think it's Michael B. Jordan.
Oh, okay. This is all you. If that's what you think, go right ahead.
Okay, we'll check in with Michael B. Jordan.
all right. Draft Sickos, Markkus, your answer.
Yeah, this was like instant because for once, Scott, you and I have a same favorite movie of a certain sport. Because first two, I was just like, well, what the hell? Because I don't like either of those other movies. Yeah, this is very, very clearly to me Michael B. Jordan. So that's what we checked in with.
I just want to play, coach. I just want to play, coach. Spoiler alert, Jake. Sorry, he just wants to play. And I should have said spoiler alert before I asked the question. I'm so sorry, Jake. I just assumed everyone besides Mason has seen Hardball. I'm so sorry.
No, all good. Learning experience. Good for
Both
me.
teams are receiving points. The correct answer is Michael B. Jordan. Also played a character named Jamal. Also no stranger to playing athletes, of course, Adonis Creed. He also played Vince Howard in Friday Night Lights, the TV show, not the movie.
Anxiously awaiting his portrayal of Scotty B. Pippen.
All right. Thankfully, that round is over. But honestly, I had a lot of fun. That was hilarious. Just after halftime, we have the following scores. Johnny Gilbert Arenas has 275, and Draft Sickos has 225, which means they will be able to select the first list in today's third quarter, which is Lucky 7.
Lucky 7. For this quarter, there will be 3 lists containing 7 items. The team that is trailing coming into the quarter will choose the first list and attempt to identify the items on this list one at a time. If the team has an incorrect guess, the other team can attempt to finish that list out. The team leading at the beginning of the quarter will select the second list, and whichever team is trailing after the first 2 lists will get the third list. Each item is worth 10 points.
List number 1 for Lucky 7. Most games played during the playoffs for the 2007-2008 NBA champion Boston Celtics. List number 2, the 7 players with the most hits for the 2013 World Series champion Boston Red Sox. And list number 3, for you draft sickos, the last 7 NFL first-round draft picks from Boston College.
Ooh,
You're welcome, Jake. You're
Nelly.
welcome, Jake. And you're welcome, Jake.
Oh boy, thank you. I'm excited to see how this goes.
Because you are trailing draft sickos, you can select the first list. I will clarify on the second list, that is regular season hits, not postseason hits for the Red Sox.
Got it.
We're gonna live up to our name.
Yes.
So we're gonna be the draft sickos and go with Boston College draft picks.
Yes, I'm so excited for this.
We'll see how excited we are. After
Yeah,
this.
we'll see after we get through a few names.
Let me also clarify for that then, for both teams, I will say there are 8 acceptable answers.
We'll check in.
All right, draft sickos have a chance to live up to their name here and have checked in with the last 7 NFL first-round draft picks from Boston College. Jake is waiting on pins and needles to see what they come up with, and so am I. So go ahead, fellas.
All right. Well, we'll start with Zay Flowers.
Zay Flowers from 2023 is correct.
Oh, actually,
are we going back and forth? Oh, okay.
Sure.
Here,
I don't care. I was
here. Okay. I'll correct the in a row part of this and say Zion Johnson.
Zion Johnson from 2022 is correct.
Okay. Well, I'll get us back on the correct order then because we didn't put them that way. Chris Lindstrom.
Chris Lindstrom in 2019 is correct.
Okay, and then we will go Luke Kuechly.
Luke Kuechly in 2012 is correct.
All right. And well, I think at this point, I don't remember which one goes where.
No, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Okay. I'll go BJ Raji.
Matt may have had something to say about this one. BJ Raji in 2009 is correct.
I'm excited that I got this one because I needed Mason's help. I said, he's an offensive lineman. Colts, super Italian. And then he said, Costanzo. And so check in with Anthony Costanzo.
Anthony Costanzo, 2011 is correct.
All right. Well, there's one.
Super Italian can apply to every other BC player. Just
That's fair.
Yeah, it'll work. But yeah.
Especially Dino Tomlin.
But yeah, so we don't know who the other guy is this year, but he would be the oldest out of all of these. So Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan in 2008 is a correct, acceptable answer. You got all 7. Nice job. Jake, do you want to take a shot at the other first rounder in 2008?
It's Gosder Cherilus, the O-tackle.
Oh, yeah.
Lions.
Dang it. I knew he was a lineman.
Yes,
I just couldn't remember what team he went to.
Yes, it is Mr. Cherilus, which, what a name.
I know.
Yeah, Gosder Cherilus.
This is how I know I'm not a draft sicko, because I was like, I heard 3 of those, and I was like, okay, I can get those. And then the rest of them was no.
Yeah, so happy they lived up to their name. Very well done. That was a really fun list to write because there was a couple of those guys like Cherilus and Anthony Costanzo I hadn't thought about in quite some time.
I'm just bummed out because I can tell you one of my biggest draft crushes ever, and it didn't work out. One of my favorites of all time was William Green, the running back who went to Cleveland, and I was like, I don't think it goes back that far.
No, if this was a Dean's list, it would have gone back to Matthias Kiwanuka in 2006. But then it would have gone back to Willie Green in 2002. There's also a lineman in 2002 at the end of the first as well. But I don't remember the name when I was looking at it. And it doesn't matter because you got all 7. Nice job. Over to Johnny Gilbert Arenas. Please choose which list and let me know when you guys are ready to check in.
What do you want to do? You want to go Celtics or you want to go Red Sox?
What a Sophie's choice for Jake.
The Red Sox, I feel there are more potential trap answers here. I think it's safer to go with the Celtics and we can figure it out from there.
Okay, let's do it. We'll go Celtics.
All right. Most games played during the playoffs for the 2007-2008 NBA champion Boston Celtics. You know what? Since I like you, Jake, I'm going to give you guys a hint. Trevor Ariza, not on this list.
Not on this list, yeah.
Gilbert Arenas, not on this list. Johnny Gilbert, not on this list.
William Green, not on this list.
Sheed Wallace is also not on this list.
Yeah.
No.
All right, I think we'll check in.
Okay, Johnny Gilbert Arenas is checked in. Go ahead and reveal your list.
All right, so we'll start with the starting 5. Paul Pierce.
Paul Pierce appeared in 26 games. That is correct.
Kevin Garnett.
26 games for him. It was possible. Correct.
Ray Allen.
Ray Allen, 26 games. Correct.
Rajon Rondo.
Stop me if you've heard this before. 26 games. Correct.
And Kendrick Perkins.
Kendrick Perkins is correct. He played in 25 games.
All right. So now the bench pieces is where we start to get a little fuzzy. Tako was all over James Posey, so we'll go James Posey.
Mason, you might have to come up with a graphic of Tako all over James Posey. That is correct. James Posey played in 26 games.
It's just the scene from Brokeback Mountain and Taco's reaching around James Posey.
I was thinking the scene from Step Brothers, and I'm all over James Posey like a spider monkey.
Oh, that also, yeah.
Correct. You have one more.
Yeah, and I think one of us is going to be correct. We'll go with my guess, and we'll say Tony Allen was the seventh.
Tony Allen is incorrect.
Damn it.
So, Draft Sickos, you have a chance to pick up 10 points here.
I've been thinking about the baseball one, so I really didn't put much thought in it. I figured he would get most of them. So
yeah, I thought they were going to get all of them. Ooh, what if it's we're saying this is 07, 08? Is that what we're saying? Yeah,
Yes.
07, 08. What about Leon Poe?
That's a name.
Yes.
There you go. I forgot about him. That's a guy.
Yeah, we're checking. Why don't we check that in? Cal legend Leon Poe.
Great guess. Love Leon Poe. Not correct.
Oh, really? That was my seventh. So,
Interestingly enough, it seems as if I was looking at this, they wanted to go with experience in the playoffs.
So Sam Cassell was my guess after that.
Sam Cassell is also not correct. It's PJ Brown.
PJ Brown was going to be
If I would have thought of PJ Brown, yeah, no, I totally
Old man
forgot.
PJ Brown in 2007, 2008 appeared in 25 playoff games.
jersey
Same as
number
Kendrick
93 or whatever the hell he was wearing.
at age 46 or whatever he was.
Yeah.
Perkins. Yeah, I went into this question and I was like, I know the first six with a bullet, and I was like, it's got to be Tony Allen or Leon Poe. And when I saw that it was PJ Brown, I was like, there's the opportunity for a team to miss. I was like, that's one that a team might get tripped up.
PJ Brown won a title with Havlicek and then won a title with Garnett.
I've actually met PJ Brown before. Interestingly enough, a few athletes I met. It was at a high school football championship game. I don't know what high school he went to, but he was watching them. So he actually sitting a couple rows in front of me, which was
That's a name drop.
Yeah.
Nice name drop there. All right. So with that, Draft Sickos, you have the third list. The 7 players with the most hits for the 2013 World Series champion, Boston Red Sox. I helped them out. I'm going to help you guys out real quick too. Trevor Ariza, not on this team.
I figured he might have tried to join him to get a ring. At the very end.
Ring chasing.
Ring chasing as the third catcher.
So we're gonna check in.
Draft Sickos have checked in with the 7 players with the most hits for the 2013 World Series champion Boston Red Sox. Go ahead and name your list.
All right, we'll start with David Ortiz.
David Ortiz is correct. He had 160 hits.
We'll go Dustin Pedroia.
Dustin Pedroia led the team with 193.
We'll go Jacoby Ellsbury.
He is second with 172.
All right, and this is where my confidence drops off because I felt good about those 3. These guys, I'm hoping they're more relevant at that time. I'm going to go Mike Napoli.
Mike Napoli is 6th on the team with 129 hits.
All right. Next, we'll go with the guy. I abbreviated his name, and Markkus wasn't sure what I was referencing. We're going to go with Jared Saltalamacchia.
Could be someone's franchise leader for home runs by a catcher. Jared Saltalamacchia is correct. He is 7th with 116.
Okay, well, then based on the trend that's happening, this one will not land. But we're going to go with Stephen Drew.
Stephen Drew is incorrect, which means there are 2 answers that Johnny Gilbert Arenas could potentially pick up here.
And I think I've got them both. Shane Victorino would have been won the Flying Hawaiian.
Shane Victorino is correct. He's fourth on the team with 140 hits.
And I believe the seventh is Daniel Nava, if it's not Stephen Drew.
You are a maniac for knowing that. That is correct. Daniel Nava fifth on the team with 139 hits.
How can I forget him? He famously hit, was it a grand slam on his first ever pitch in the bigs? I can't.
Yes, he did.
I remember watching that.
That was the one where I was like, okay, there's the PJ Brown of this list potentially. But you were able to avoid the PJ Brown this time. That's yes. Always avoid the PJ Brown. Unlike Mason at that college.
That's why you wipe before you go to
football game.
That's why you wipe before you go to bed.
Okay.
All right. So yes, you cleared all of those up. Daniel Nava is correct. So out of the 21 answers, collectively 20 of them were correct. So nice job on Jake's Lucky 7 list. After the third quarter, and due to the nature of Lucky 7, we have a really close game. Draft Sickos have 345, and Johnny Gilbert Arenas, thanks to picking up a couple of steals, have 355. Which brings us to today's fourth quarter.
The fourth quarter, known as Put Your Fours Up. This quarter consists of 4 categorized questions that teams will wager up to 100 points each, not to exceed their current point total.
Today's fourth quarter categories are as follows. Question 1, too much Boston. That will be in hockey. Question 2, the long ball in Major League Baseball. Question 3, revved up, will be NASCAR. And question 4, Cinderella story, will be college basketball. It is now time for both teams to place their wagers.
We'd like to take a minute to invite you to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at BenchwarmersTP. We also have a Facebook group for fans of the pod called The Bench. Join us there to comment on the latest episodes and share cool sports facts and trivia. If you'd be willing to rate and review us on iTunes or Stitcher, we'd greatly appreciate the support so that other people may find this podcast. Thanks.
Now that the wagers are in, on to the questions. Question 1 in the category of too much Boston. The Bruins have 4 players with more than 1,000 points. Ray Bourque, Phil Esposito, and Patrice Bergeron are 3 of the names. Who is the 4th player who holds the franchise lead for goals scored?
We're going to check in.
Okay, Draft Sickos is checked in. Johnny Gilbert Arenas, you have a few seconds here to talk it out.
I'm going to get crucified for this.
Well, I mean, we have some names that aren't. I was like, as soon as I heard Bruins, I was like, ooh, Ray Bourque and Phil Esposito. And then they were in the question.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, no. You brought up
Bobby Orr, I don't think scored a lot.
Yeah. Joe Thornton, I don't think was there to compete
He
with
was there for 10 years. I know he got traded to San Jose in 2006.
Right. But I feel like he was never like the prolific goal scorer like Bourque and Esposito, where they were more distributor.
No.
He was more a distributor. I brought up Cam Neely just like because I like Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that's probably better than either of mine at this point.
Yeah.
I don't think Marchand would have passed Bergeron yet. Now that I'm thinking about it,
Right. Yeah, that's the best I got, I think.
Okay, I'm good with Cam Neely. I think we'll.
All right, we'll check in Seabass himself, Cam Neely, for 55 points.
All right, and over to Johnny Gilbert Arenas, your answer and wager, please. I'm sorry, over to Draft Sickos, your answer and wager, please.
Yeah, hockey not Mason in my strong suit. But the fact that Patrice Bergeron was on this list led me to the only name that I could think. It gave me hope that maybe this guy is on this list. because we didn't have as deep of a bag. So we have checked in with Brad Marchand for 69 points.
They've matured. They've matured. Okay.
Just wait.
Sadly, both teams are losing points on this question. The correct answer, and Marcus, I don't think Brett Hull Hockey was going to help you because this guy retired in 1978.
Ooh.
The correct answer is Johnny Busick.
Busick. Okay.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know who that person is. So
Neither do I.
Yeah, I do. I
Do you have
sold
the list up?
Oh.
I do have the list up. Marchand is fifth,
Oh.
967. So he is the
man.
next one closest to 1,000. Cam Neely is only 13th in franchise. He's at 590.
Okay.
And Joe Thornton's at 454. So he's in the top 25.
Joe Thornton's so old that I didn't even know he played 10 years for Boston.
I didn't know that
think
either.
of him. I just think of him as a shock.
Yeah, he was a
Jake-
shark.
Jake
He was a
said
shark
that?
for 38 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jake said 10 years, and I was like, wait, really?
96
And then I
to
realized,
06,
like,
I'm almost
yeah,
certain.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Played forever in that sport. So, all right. So, both teams lost points on that one. So we're just going to move right into question number 2 in the category of the long ball. In each season from 2013 to 2017, what American League team had a player lead the league in home runs? Hint, 3 different players led for this team during the time span.
We'll check in.
Oh, balls.
Right. Say all balls.
Yeah.
Johnny
The long
Gilbert-Arenas. Johnny Gilbert-Arenas is checked in. Draft sickos, talk it out.
Okay. Yeah. So my initial thing that I sent to Mason was, I was like, this feels like it could be Toronto. Like you're thinking like Joey Bats and Edwin Encarnacion. But Mason, you said you feel pretty good that Chris Davis was 2013 for
I don't
Baltimore.
know. I have no idea why that's in my head. It's not something I feel like I should know. For some reason, when I heard 2013 and AL, like Chris Davis, just because I know he had like 50 something somewhere in the 2010s. I just don't know where. But if that is the case, somehow that led me to Mark Trumbo. I don't even know how in my head that worked out, which I feel like he had a big season somewhere
He
along
definitely did. And I know this because he went on to play for the Mariners with Cano, is that you said Nelson Cruz, and I was like, he played for Baltimore before he came to Seattle.
So I could see him getting it like
And-
2014, 15 time. And
Yeah. No, I think you might be right. Like the fact that you felt so confident about Chris Davis, and then once you said Mark Trumbo, I was like, oh man, that actually makes a lot of sense because
yeah,
I think Trumbo got broken off by somebody and he was terrible. Maybe it was Arizona. I don't remember. He
Yeah.
signed somewhere after that.
I don't know how my brain worked that way to make that connection. Somehow that's 2013. When he said 2013 in AL, that was the first name that popped in my head. So
Old money
It
bags
seems to
himself,
work out.
Chris Davis. His money per strikeout is astronomical. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
okay, all right.
Yeah,
so
let's
we're
do
gonna
that.
go with we'll go with the Orioles and see we have matured 100 points.
And Johnny Gilbert-Arenas, your answer and wager.
We went through the same thought process. I know Tako said Blue Jays, Bautista, and Encarnacion, but I knew Judge was the 17 leader. Davis was 2013 with 54, I think. And I knew that Trumbo was 2016 with 47. Believe Nelson Cruz was 14. I don't know about 15 off the top of my head, but those 3 Orioles were good enough for me. So I will also say the Baltimore Orioles, and we matched you guys with 100 points. It's our wager.
And both teams are getting those 100 points. In 2013, it was Chris Davis. 2014 was Nelson Cruz with 40. 2015 was Chris Davis again with 47.
Wow.
And 2016 was Trumbo with 47. So it is the Baltimore Orioles. Nice work. It's such like a forgotten time period for me. Like Trumbo was barely there. And then, like Marcus said, Arizona broke him off.
It was
and then-
Arizona.
It was Arizona, yeah. It was there. Arizona. And then like I always forget Nelson Cruz was there because it's just like such a blip for me because he was there so briefly. But when I looked at this, like this has never really happened ever that a team led with unique players, 3 years in a row. Obviously, teams have led with the same guy, sometimes two guys. It happened in the NL in 95, 96, and 97, the Rockies with Bichette, Galarraga, and Walker each led. But in the American League, looking back through, like that never really happened before. And it didn't really lead to anything. So
See, I miss this time frame because unlike the cowards that are in the front office now, at least then they were like, screw it, let's give Robinson Cano a bunch of money. Screw it, let's give Nelson Cruz some money. And now
let's try
we're just
something.
now we're just gonna run it back and hope that the 50 games of Victor Robles playing like an all-star again for some reason out of complete nowhere, that's he's just gonna keep progressing and get even better.
Don't even get me started on the Red Sox. We're interested in 50 bazillion different $20 million a year.
Yeah, Castillo for Casas, straight up, right?
Yeah, totally.
Do it.
Oh.
Anyways. No, it's terrible for both sides. Please don't. Anyways. Cowards, all of you cowards.
All right, let's move on to question 3 in the category of revved up. From 2001 to 2013, only 6 drivers won the NASCAR Cup Series championship. Those drivers are Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, Jimmy Johnson, Matt Kenseth, Kurt Busch, and what 2012 winner who represented Team Penske?
We'll go ahead and check in.
Johnny Gilbert Arenas is checked in. Draft Sickos, talk it out.
All right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How's it going? I was just typing names that I don't know who won when. I just
throw them out to me.
Names of guys.
Yeah.
So I had Kyle Busch because you mentioned Kurt Busch. Maybe his brother won it.
Yeah, could have been.
I know he's more recent. Joey Logano's more recent name, but I don't think he was still there.
He was pretty young then.
Yeah.
Like, isn't that right around when he like kind of burst on the scene? Pretty young.
Yeah, I thought so. But Kevin Harvick, Brad Keselowski. Like, I'm just naming guys that I remember being names. Like I said, I just have a bunch of names.
I like of those names you named. I like Kyle Busch probably the best of those names. I don't know how you feel, if you feel any better about anybody else, but
you like Kyle Busch as that group? Sure, maybe they both won one. Yeah, we'll go Kyle Busch. Markkus, how many points?
For 69 points.
Nice. All right, and Johnny Gilbert Arenas, your answer and wager, please.
Really fun story with this driver. His dad was a journeyman truck series driver in the 90s, and he came up racing in the lower levels with his family's team. If I remember correctly, they were about to go out of business, and he wasn't sure what his future was going to be until Dale Jr. offered him a ride in the then, I believe it was the Nationwide Series at that point. Signed a deal with Hendrick after that. That deal kind of fell apart, and he went over to Penske. Most famous for getting drunk on SportsCenter when discussing his NASCAR championship in 2012. The Blue Deuce, Brad Keselowski, is our answer, and that will be 100 points wager for us.
And you will be receiving those 100 points. The correct answer is Brad Keselowski. Mason, you said it. It was one of the names that you rattled off.
He was a big deal for a little bit.
I didn't think you'd go back to it.
Yeah.
But all the other names that you mentioned, Kevin Harvick was 2014, Kyle Busch 2015. So right after.
In 2019 for Kyle as well. Yeah.
So, yeah. And then, yeah, it's a kind of a crazy list to look at because it's dominated by a very small population of people. So there's a lead change and it's pretty significant. So we will just move on to question number 4 in the category of Cinderella story. During the 2006 NCAA men's basketball tournament, an unlikely Cinderella team emerged. This team defeated the number 4 seed Kansas and the number 5 seed Pittsburgh to reach the Sweet 16 before losing to Memphis. This team was led by a player who ended up being drafted 9th overall by the Warriors. Name this team.
We'll check in.
Johnny Gilbert Arenas is checked in. So for the final time in the game, Draft Sickos can talk it out.
it would really help to be a draft sicko to know who was 9th overall in the '06 draft, drafted by the
Yeah,
Warriors. That would be really helpful.
this is a different kind of sicko.
This draft sicko here came up with this question because of this player.
I love that.
Yeah, let's figure out who this guy is.
I don't like that. But I don't like that.
So, I mean,
well,
I don't have anything else to reason out other than this team was a 13 seed with the way the math works out, and that's about it. I don't have much else because I don't know who was drafted by the Warriors that high. I mean, I can think of guys in the '06 draft, but they weren't drafted.
well, the one guy that I remember that got drafted, I don't know if it was that high by the Warriors, but I was thinking of AC Law, but Texas A&M I don't think falls under the Cinderella banner.
Story.
Right.
No,
I mean, I know they haven't traditionally been a great basketball program, but oh my gosh, this is gonna make me nuts. Because, like you said, George Mason made it to the
LSU was in the Final Four because I remember that was the same year.
No,
What I remember.
Because now you're right. Now I have to go about it trying to think about the 2006 NBA draft, and that sucks.
Oh yeah, we love reminiscing about Andrea Bargnani.
Well, the one thing I do know about that is Brandon Roy was in that draft.
Yeah, Tyrese Thomas would be there.
Yep, Sheldon Williams' ugly ass was in that draft.
Markkus Aldridge. We can name a lot of the top 10, just not this guy, whoever he is. It's not been very good.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm gonna hear the name and I'm gonna be so upset. Adam Morrison was this draft. LaMarcus Aldridge. Ugh. It's going to piss me off.
I wonder if this guy's a Boston connection because they answered somewhat quickly here.
Yeah, I bet it is.
Because otherwise, I don't know. I don't have any.
They also have a Warriors guy on their team.
That's true. That helps.
I don't know, Mason.
Let's just name a small school that has that could have a chance here. I mean, you said what, Bucknell? Is that what you said earlier? I don't even remember.
I did say Bucknell.
Sure.
They had a couple of decent tournament runs. And like I said, I think Mike Muscala was a first round pick. I don't think it was 9th, and if it was, good Lord, why? But
yeah,
that's probably the best I got.
I guess we're going Bucknell then. Go ahead, Markkus.
100 points.
Not nice. All right, over to Johnny Gilbert Arenas. Excited to hear your answer and wager.
Yeah, few things actually to say in response to all that. Mike Muscala was 2013. He did go to Bucknell. Bucknell, the year prior, 2005, they upset Kansas in the first round as a 14 seed over the 3. Chris McNaughton, I think, was the center that hit the game-winning shot there. No, but the '06 tournament was a lot more fun. 2 Missouri Valley teams in the Sweet 16 and George Mason of the Colonial. Wichita State was one, but I see the image of Will Franklin hitting the half-court shot. I believe it was against Kansas. And this is the Bradley Braves is the correct answer here. And the player is Patrick O'Brien from the State Warriors, who was a one-time Boston Celtic.
See, I caught on to it.
So Bradley is our final answer for 100 points.
That is correct. Bradley Braves are correct. Jake took most of my flavor text and also explained the reason for me writing this question, because it's a Boston and Bay Area connection and a draft connection.
I just need to state for the record, the answer of the Bradley Braves was in my chat in the middle of Scott reading the question while I was writing the recap and not paying attention whatsoever. I just looked over and the answer was there and I hadn't even thought about it yet.
Wild.
Truly incredible from Jake.
Yeah, Patrick O'Brien, I've always been fascinated with him because, like, he played in 90 career games over 3 seasons with 3 different teams as a top 10 NBA draft pick. Like, and listen, there are a ton of obscure top 10 NBA draft pick names. I get it, right? Nikola Shkidishvili, Rafael Arujo. But, like, Patrick O'Brien has to be up there with one of the more obscure top 10, not even lottery, not even first round, but top 10 picks from the last 20 years. Like, it's ridiculous how bad he was.
Don't let the Warriors have the 9th pick, because in back-to-back seasons with back-to-back 9th picks, we went Ike Diagu and then Patrick O'Brien.
Hey, Ike Diagu was awesome.
In college.
Well, yeah, I was all on board for like 2009 Ike Diagu and AC Law in Golden State. I was in there.
I picked Texas A&M to win the NCAA tournament
because of AC Law.
Me
too. Year. Not kidding.
I was all in on AC Law.
Oh, 100%.
All right. Well, the game has come to an end, and here are the final scores. Draft Sickos finishes with 207, and our clipboard captains of the game. I went off the grid a little bit here. Our clipboard captains of the game who are receiving the coveted Doug Mirabelli Award with a final score of 600 is Johnny Gilbert Arenas. So no actual backup quarterback here, but a backup catcher instead. So congratulations, gentlemen. Jake, thank you so much for being here. This was a lot of fun. Any last words before we get out of here?
Oh, it's my pleasure for doing this. My thanks to Jared Watson for putting this on my radar and encouraging me to reach out to Tako. This was so much fun. I am welcome to do this quite literally anytime you want to have me back on. I will be here. I love stuff like this, so don't really get an outlet to use it, but yeah, I had a lot of fun with you guys. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we exist. Is none of us really had an outlet to use. I mean, Markkus uses it on gambling.
Yeah.
Hey, Neat Clifford for the Colorado State Rams. He's hit for me the last 6 times. He went 0 for 5 from 3 tonight and cost me $87.49. So.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Tough.
So
tough luck.
That's how he uses it. But the rest of us, Jake, we tend to use it.
Gambling sicko and draft sicko.
Yeah.
Well, I thought about it and it did apply because Mason. I thought about it and I was like, I'm not trying to throw Mason's name under the bus.
I had a friend of mine was telling me about his bet on McNeese State last night. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you betting on this?
Will Wade.
State is
Will Wade. You got to believe in him.
Oh,
what a guy! What a guy!
Yeah.
And shout out to Bradley Brave, legend, nation's leading scorer in like 1985, 6, I think maybe, or 87, something like that. Hersey Hawkins, and Sonic's legend.
Yeah, Hersey Hawkins, Patrick O'Brien, same category. Right?
No, my God, you shut your mouth. You don't ever talk about Hersey Hawkins and Patrick O'Brien.
All right, well, on behalf of Mason, Markkus, Tako, and myself, thank you for listening to the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast. And until next time, we'll keep the bench warm.
That ball hit high and deep. Stretch! Get on back there. They look up. You can put it on the board. Yes!
Into deep left center for Mitchell. And we'll see you tomorrow night.
That great music you're listening to is by Justin Nozick. Thanks to him for producing that music for us. You've been listening to the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast. Make sure to check us out on all of our social media. We are at BenchwarmersTP.